advise using stainless screws for fixing ThermoChar boards. You would generally fix them through the profile, bottom corner of the profile. In most cases you would pre-drill slightly and then you use a very small screw. We use a very small trim head screw, very small headed screw to minimise the disruption. Or you could use stainless steel pins is the other option, and you would go through the bottom of the profile at 45 degrees into the cladding batten. If you didn't have a profile and you had a smooth, clean all-round board, then we would use our InvisiFix clip. You would use the InvisiFix clip, which means you're just screwing the clip straight into the batten, so there are no surface penetrations to damage it. Once you receive your order, all the packs, as I say, each layer of boards has a foam layer between each to protect the surface. They're all black wrapped with all the relevant labels on, a customer notice label on, so care needs to be taken when you're taking them off, that you still use the foam. You don't just unwrap, throw all the packaging away and then throw it in the back garden along like you maybe would do with framework. They need to be looked after, so you would take the foam layer and restack it in the back garden if that's what you need to do, and then put a cover over it to protect it until you're ready to use it, just to keep any bird muck or general mess off. And that's really all you need to do. You just handle it with a little bit more care than you would do any other construction timber. We haven't had experience of any charring flaking off. We seal all our products. So unless it's roughly handled, clearly on the corners or the edges, if it's roughly handled, then yes, you could mark it, but it's not very often, and that's why we always supply a touch-up sealer, just in case you end up doing that or you accidentally knock it and damage the corner. When installing ThermoChar boards, you should always leave, especially on the profiles, you should always leave about a millimetre gap, so they're slightly loose, very, very slightly loose. ThermoChar is cured at a 7% moisture content, so it'll never shrink any further, but it might have a subtle movement in terms of expansion. So you always allow a very small amount of movement, just to allow, accommodate it. If you ram all the profiles tightly together, and you do that in the summer summer months, then obviously when it comes to the winter and the general climatic moisture, it won't have anywhere to breathe, it won't be able to move, and it will start to bow or compromise the installation. So always leave a very small amount of gap.